oh boy, we got the biggest upset of the tournament in this year's 2021 Monte Carlo Masters. Djokovic just got upset in straight sets against Dan Evans, the 33 world ranking player in the world, Dan Evans. Am I surprised? Yes, I am. I didn't see this coming. I didn't believe Djokovic will win this tournament. I don't have him as my number one favorite, but I had him as high as number two. So obviously I believed he will go to the final and face Rafael Nadal there, which he obviously will not do now. Yeah, what can we say about the match, guys? This was a really, really bad performance from Novak Djokovic, and it has to do with the opponent as well. Guys, you have to understand something. You can play as good tennis as your opponent allows you to play. Don't ever forget this. Yannick Sinner yesterday, he made life easy for Novak Djokovic by making 28 unforced errors, by having bad shot tolerance, but by having bad stamina, by doing a lot of errors, by serving bad, by returning bad, by playing one-dimensional tennis. Dan Evans did all those bad things that Yannick Sinner did yesterday. Dan Evans did much better today. And what do you get when you face a better quality opponent which will give you completely different looks at the ball, which will give you completely pace of the ball, which will play lots of slices, which Dan Evans does with his backhand slice, which will serve better, which will return better, which will have better shot tolerance. My God, what great shot tolerance Dan Evans had against Novak Djokovic, who will be more willing to suffer, which Dan Evans, of course, was much more willing to suffer compared with Yannick Sinner yesterday. And on top of all this, a player like Djokovic, who was not feeling his best today. Of course he was not. You could see that, especially the first couple of games, the first 3 games where Dan Evans was a double break up in the first set. Djokovic, he couldn't even make one thing right. Everything he was hitting, everything was flying out or was going to the net. I don't know how many errors he did the first 3 games, but for sure 7 to 8 errors he did only the first 3 games, for sure. In the first set, he did 23 errors. Novak Djokovic, compared with Dan Evans, who did only 13 errors. So Novak does 10 more errors than Dan Evans the first set. Yeah, Novak does more winners the first set than Dan Evans. Novak does 11 winners. Dan Evans does 5 winners that first set. So Novak obviously does 6 more winners than Dan Evans. But nevertheless, the errors from Novak Djokovic's racket in that first set was just too much. And he kept doing errors the second set as well. Not the first couple of games. He was a break up with the first, in the second set, Novak Djokovic, and was up 3-love. But then, of course, Dan Evans, he came back, took that break back, and then break Novak's serve for the second time towards the end of the second set, and in the end served out the match and won that second set 7-5. Really bad performance from Novak Djokovic. All in all, Novak, I believe, landed between 30 to 40 unforced errors, something like that, between there. And big kudos, big congratulations to Dan Evans. Probably this was his biggest victory in his life. Dan Evans, who is a really tricky player, he's an underrated player, guys. He has won a tournament this year, and of course a small tournament earlier this year, and gave Federer a really great fight at Doha. Federer barely defeated Dan Evans last month. Federer won in the end against Dan Evans, I remember, in Doha in 3 sets. But Dan Evans can play tennis. And Dan Evans shows to the world that Novak Djokovic will not win French Open. People asked me when Novak won Australian Open 2 months ago, people on my channel was asking me, will now Novak win French Open? No, he will not, I answered 2 months ago, and I have not changed my mind now. Novak will not win French Open, guys. And you know why? Because surfaces matter. You have to understand one thing. In tennis, surfaces matter. Novak cannot hit through players on clay. He doesn't have the most powerful strokes on the tour. What is Novak good at? He is great on having great shot tolerance. He's good from the baseline. He has great returns. He has good serve, a very underrated serve. But all of those things, they are not really effective on clay. They are effective on hard courts and grass. He did over 100 aces at Australian Open 2 months ago. Do you believe he will do over 100 aces in a French Open? Do you actually believe that? He did 0 aces against Yannick Sinner yesterday. He did only 3 aces today against Evans. And Novak cannot do winners on clay because, yeah, he does winners sometimes, yeah, but he doesn't do enough winners that is required for him to be successful. He could do a lot of winners when he was younger, 10 years younger, guys. When he was 24, 25, 26 years old. He could do more winners. He was more of a shot maker before. It is not the same of a shot maker we are seeing a 33-year-old Novak Djokovic nowadays, soon 34 years old. And people were saying Novak Djokovic is the second favorite after Rafa Nadal in French Open, which will be played about 2 months from now, 5-6 weeks. No, guys, he's not the second favorite. He is not, guys. Even Thiem is a bigger favorite than Novak Djokovic in French Open. Even though Thiem, at the current moment, he's having some really bad health issues. But if Thiem can make himself healthy and can really be 100% healthy when French Open starts, he is a bigger favorite than Novak Djokovic. For me, the favorites at French Open are Rafael Nadal, the overwhelming favorite, number 1. The second is Dominic Thiem. The third is Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is so much more vulnerable outside hard courts and outside grass courts, guys. He is so much, guys. Like I said, he cannot hit through players. He doesn't have enough powerful shots. He cannot ace players, at least not many aces. He cannot do many aces on clay. And he cannot sustain from the baseline and outgrind his opponent. He couldn't outgrind Dan Evans today, guys, because Dan Evans he was changing the dynamic of the shots. He was slicing. He was coming to the net. He was challenging Novak from the baseline, which of course Novak Djokovic. And that's why when Novak Djokovic feels the pressure from the baseline, he comes up with these desperate shots like drop shots. He was drop shotting Dan Evans so many times in this match, both the first and the second set. And majority of those drop shots, he was failing. Yeah, he was succeeding sometimes, but majority of the shots, he was failing, guys. And why do you think he comes up with those drop shots? Why? Because he feels desperate. He feels that he cannot handle his opponent from the baseline. Dan Evans he was better than Novak Djokovic from the baseline. He was more consistent from the baseline. He was more solid from the baseline. He was the player who was doing less unforced errors. And that's why he won his straight sets, guys. He was clearly the better player. And that is the resume how you defeat Novak Djokovic, at least on clay, by challenging him from the baseline, by going into long rallies, by being willing to suffer. And Dan Evans, he did by slicing, by coming to the net sometimes, by having great depth on your shots, which Dan Evans had. Just challenging, just giving him his own medicine. That Medvedev at that Australian Open final 2 months ago, he was willing to suffer the first set against Novak Djokovic, but in the second and the third set, he was not willing to suffer anymore. He was going for the lines. He was pulling the trigger too early. He was not willing to suffer Dan Medvedev in that Australian Open final 2 months ago. And it was a totally different, because Djokovic in that final in Australian Open, to be quite honest, he actually does only 20 winners and 17 unforced errors. So it was not like Djokovic was just outpowering Dan Medvedev from the baseline. It was not. He was just more solid. He was just more consistent. He was just the cleaner player, doing less unforced errors. Medvedev, I believe, in that Australian Open final did 30 unforced errors. So he was clearly not willing to suffer Dan Medvedev in that Australian Open final 2 months ago, especially not in the second and the third set. And you need to be willing to suffer. And that's why I don't believe Djokovic, he will never win French Open again. And some of you can say, but just because he lost one match, yes, this was his first loss this year. And that's true. This was his first loss this year. That's true, guys. He has won all of his matches this year, Novak Djokovic, 10 matches all in all, and now he lost his first. But it is with the surface to do. He's so much more vulnerable on clay. He doesn't have that arsenal shot a la Nadal with that forehand, where Rafa can hit through his opponents. Even if Rafa faces a baseline grinder a la Dan Evans or a la Schwartzman, or Rafa can hit through his opponents. Djokovic, he cannot. And that's why I don't believe Novak Djokovic will win French Open ever again. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.